Oh man, I told you we had something special today. Told you we had somebody big coming on, somebody important, and it gets no better than the man of the moment right now. Head coach Scott Roth of the Tasmania Jack Jumpers, the 2024 NBL champions, and his lovely daughter who just came from America
Yep.
to support her big daddy, man. What's going on?
Crazy. It's been a crazy last 12 hours of emotional roller coaster and excitement. And, we landed here at the airport, was crazy. And in about an hour, we have 7,000 fans supposedly waiting for us at My State Bank Arena. And it's just been a whirlwind these last 12 hours. But 3 years ago, I would have never necessarily thought this was going to be how it would play out. But I was very confident in the group we had, and it's been an amazing ride.
Coach, I was actually joking a little bit earlier. I said to Corey, can we start saying NBL world champions? I mean, the NBA does it, so why can't we do it as well?
Yeah, I think the NBA got carried away once they started getting down the road a bit, and then all the Europeans started getting involved in the league, and it's just nice to be NBL champs. I don't need to be the world right now. Just representing the Australia as the championship team. We knocked off two Goliaths in sports with Perth and their history, and United with their gold standard, and to beat them both without home court advantage. Nothing was given to us, and we went after it, and I can't tell you how proud I am of the group. It's just amazing.
One thing that I've been watching you, for a while, and the one thing that I respect, and I want to know how long you've been like this, is your poise. You don't seem to yell at your players. Most coaches think to get the best out of their players, they need to be yelling at them all the time.
Yeah.
Right? And regardless of what the score is, it just seems that you are always emotionally in control and you talk to your players. How long have you been like that? Where does that come from?
Well, I think you learn your lessons when you're a younger coach and you go through it, and you're around a lot of different coaches that are the screamers and hollers and the ones that affect you and don't affect you, and you morph into your own personality. And then when I was younger, I was one of them yellers, to be quite honest with you. And as I matured and got older and understood the dynamics of being a former player and now coaching, what really players need at the end of the day. And during the game, I try to be as calm as I can because we've done all the work during the week. But behind closed doors in practice, I'm after them. They'll all tell you that. I have the heavy foot to the pedal to the metal with them. And our practices are no joke. I stay after them. And that's where I coach them the hardest. And when the game comes, I let them just go do their thing and try to be calm for them and support them. But during the week, I must say I'm probably no joke, and probably have got a lot of guys very uncomfortable, but that's my job, to stretch them and push them to other areas where they didn't think they could go. And that's kind of how I handle it.
Corey and I have spoken, since this grand final series started. We've just constantly been talking about how Corey's been using the example. This was like Rocky versus Apollo Creed, right? Where Melbourne United just, they kept throwing their best shots at you. They just couldn't quite finish you off. Did it feel like that, coaching from the sidelines, that you were just in the midst of like a real heavyweight battle? And did you feel like even at some point that maybe you guys couldn't even finish them off?
Yeah, absolutely. You are who you are during the course of the season. And one thing that I relied upon is that no one ever blew us out. They had moments 4 or 5 times during the course of the season where someone could have walked away with a 15 to 20 point loss, like a lot of teams take, and you're on to the next game. And our guys were just so resilient, and they kept coming back, and they kept forcing teams to, finish us off in the last minute or two. And I think we didn't lose the game by less than 8 points the whole season. And I just knew that this team was quite resilient. And, Melbourne threw some big punches at us. And to be quite honest with you, in game 2, we're down 15, and somehow or another we survive and just keep swinging at home. And I think that really turned the tide, because I think the first game we had some hangover from the Perth win and the travel, and it took some time for us to get our footing underneath us. And by the second half of the game 2, we started to play a little bit better and started to get our feet underneath us. And once we came back, after that, it was a slugfest. And I knew when we get up 7 or 8, or they got up 7 or 8, that we would be able to just withstand that if we were just solid defensively, which we hung our hat on. And we just blow after blow they threw at us, and we just kept standing there and responding. And I think the other thing is play of the game. This last one was about 4 minutes to go when Magne just beasted them down there and dunked on top of Chul and Travers from behind. And
oh my
I think it was
goodness,
just a statement play of just, we're here, we're not going away, and you got 4 more minutes to try to keep swinging at us. And I think it was just ellipsed and collapsed. I mean, just a whole franchise moment for us of what we were about.
So I want to talk to your daughter real quick right now, right?
She's the brains of the operation anyways.
Man. So how's your experience been overall in Tasmania? And how proud of you, of your dad, for coming here in 3 years, doing what no club has been able to do. Like, this doesn't happen in sport. When it comes to expansion club, the next word usually for the next few years is struggle.
Yeah.
This has been anything but. Your thoughts?
I was just texting a friend. I was like, I feel like I've been living in a movie and nobody's yelled cut yet, so we're just rolling with it. But it's been incredible. Tasmania is so special. It really is just a hidden gem of the world. And then this guy, for what he's done, incredibly proud, and actually just really aspirational too. A lot of what he's been able to unlock with the people here is the way that he's led with his vulnerability. And he said in earlier interviews that he was just going to show up and be himself. And that's something that, when you look around and you see wow, how powerful that can be, just being yourself and being vulnerable. We all show up in life and we put on our armor and we think we have to be something else to blend in with societal standards or whatever the case may be. And he just showed up and just said, no, I'm going to be myself. And that transpired into what you see. And for me, I try to wake up every day, and if I'm struggling or I'm facing a fear or something, I try to have the same mentality of just breathe. How can I just be myself today? Because magic happens when you do that. And I think that over anything is just really, really special and something that I'm proud of. And I just thank you for teaching me that and sharing that with me.
Scott, we know how much you've embraced Tasmania. The state's embraced you. The state's, behind the team. And I know what Tasmania means to you. When Dean Vickerman made that comment about, Scott's going to defend his little island, did you feel disrespected by that when you first read it or heard it?
To be quite honest with you, not particularly, because it didn't motivate my team or myself, because we were completely motivated. But it did motivate about 500,000 other people on this island. And it was just more gas on the fire from the people of Tasmania about being slighted, really. For me, I love Dean. I really respect Dean and their whole group over there. And our players were really well motivated. They didn't need any of anything else. But for 500,000 other people, it hit a nerve. And it hit a nerve in a really big way. And you saw it when the people traveled the last 2 games back into Melbourne. This last game, just incredible fan base that was there. I mean, it was ridiculous of how many people came in. And, we had the premier of Tasmania there. It's just amazing. And I think that really spurred people on to say, we're showing up, and this little island is going to show up in a big way.
You are a big reason to why there's an AFL team in Tasmania now, right?
Yeah, well, I think that we were the guinea pigs going in, and I think they just sat back and said, let's see what these guys do. And when they saw some momentum starting to create, that they said, oh boy, we better jump in that.
Get down there.
Yeah, without question. I truly believe that. And they jumped in. But Larry Katzelman had a vision and a wherewithal to get something done very quickly and get this across the line. And this place has been starving for something, for someone to rally around something. And sports is one of the greatest ways that you can rally an entire country, an entire state. And the vision of getting in here early and quick, and then obviously to have some success, just ignited this whole place. And the AFL, I think, saw it and said, we're a couple steps behind, but we better get on board.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about that success, right? Because you guys come in grand final first year, semi-final second, NBL champs year 3. When you first came here, now I know, you would have had high hopes and expectations, and you knew what you wanted to sort of achieve. But what you've achieved in 3 years, surely even this is probably more than you expected, right?
Not necessarily. My first podcast I ever did was with Liam Santamaria. And when I took the job, within the first week, I had this podcast with them. I said, we're going to win a championship this year. And probably half of Australia said, this wacky guy from the United States is not going to last very long down there. But you might as well say it, because if you're playing professional sports, what else are you trying to do?
Right.
And if you're going to build a franchise, you might as well build it at a gold standard. And we don't talk much about it, but other than the fact that it is what you play for. And it was the thing that was on my mind, that, there's only 10 teams here. The market's small. You can maneuver around relatively quickly if you get the right guys. It's not like the NBA where you tear down, you rebuild, you have all this process here. You just get the right pieces quick enough, and you get the right character. You're competing right away. And when I came down here, it was, we're going to win this year. And sure enough, we got to the grand finals. And the second year, we were 4 minutes away from going back again and played a heck of a team in New Zealand. And our goal from day one, 3 years ago, was to win a championship.
Speaking of winning the championship and, recruiting and all of that, there's one thing I kept an eye on this year, and this was extremely difficult, I'm sure. It was hard to watch for me, but Milton Doyle losing his father due to cancer, and had to go, obviously, to the funeral, come back. And Milton Doyle, first team All-NBL this year, second team All-NBL. Hell of a player.
Yep.
But he struggled pretty much the whole second half.
Yep.
What I loved and respected about you is that was your guy from the beginning.
Absolutely.
And that was your guy. You roll with him
absolutely
to the end. I don't care if it was 0-15 nights. You didn't give up because it was bigger than the game.
Absolutely. He, obviously a huge loss. We played that game, I believe it was Adelaide at home, and he didn't tell anybody that day. His father had died in the afternoon, and he came into the game and played. And after the game, he said to me, "Can I talk to you for a few minutes?" And I thought, oh boy, I was thinking something like, so you got to do something or whatever. And when he came in and said, "My dad died today, can I go home?" I was like stunned that he played this game. And within 24 hours, he's on a plane there, flew there for 5 days, turned around, landed in Hobart, and flew to Perth and played the game on the 7th day. And, I've lost family members, and it's a struggle mentally, and it's a struggle just to get through things. But one thing about sports is you can honor your family by continuing to play, and that's what they always want you to do. And he did struggle and get his rhythm back, and our players struggled actually during that point, but we never really faltered. We were kind of going back and forth, win a few, lose a few, but we never just tanked. And Milt just kept, sticking with it. And really what ended up happening with him was he became a great leader. He's always been very quiet, the silent assassin. But during that time, he really picked up his leadership within the group, and guys were relying on him. And, he's our closer. I'll give him the ball every single time and trust him every single time. And in game 4, he struggled in that last 30 seconds with a few mishaps. But he did not struggle in game 5. In the last minute of that, he made every single play that was really important to us. And he's just a great human being. And, I'm just so proud of, how he's responded, and his family coming back here and supporting him, and his mom always tweeting. He's loved here, and he's going to be back for another year.
Speaking of game 4, Coach, you guys go down after that great game 3 win. You go down to Tassie, chance to close it out at home. Didn't get it done, obviously. What What was the mood in the locker room following that game, considering how tight and how close that was? And what did you say to the team, after the game to sort of prepare them for game 5?
Well, I think the mood was disappointment, obviously, that we had kind of kicked that one away. And it was crazy because the last 3 games, no one could inbound a ball at the end of the game to actually get a ball in, which was just a coach's nightmare. And we did it. They did it. We did it again. But our guys were just coming in saying, we just need 2 days of rest and we're going back after these guys. They knew they could beat them. They knew that they had the confidence to go back in that building. And we just rested for 2 days. We absolutely did nothing. We never did anything other than a film session the morning before this game yesterday. And that was it. Got their legs back underneath them. Again, they didn't need much motivation to go play again. We have some warriors over there, and they were just ready to go. I didn't have to say anything other than the fact that, nothing's easy in life, and everything's going to be a struggle, and everything you want's on the other side of hard. And we're going to find out who we are at the end of the day here. And we went by the motto of pound a rock this year, and we pounded the hell out of that rock to see if it would crack. And it finally cracked last night.
Man, you have got a team that, how did you put this team together? Because when you look at the team, right, I'm talking about, forget this year, from year 1.
Yeah.
It's literally like, I was like, yo, this is like the movie, The Replacements, movie, The Bad News Bears, because it was like, these are players that wouldn't necessarily have a job in the league, or if they did, they would get 0 playing time. And you have managed to get this group of guys together and have created something so special. Like, I mean, you might not want to say this live, but like, what was your recruiting tactic to get them to believe in buy-in?
And to be very honest with you, there's probably 3 or 4 guys that were on that group that I brought in that didn't have jobs. And there's quite a few of those lingering to see if they would get a job. And I've said this before is, what I was looking for was really, really simple. I was looking for myself. I was looking for the underdog that had a chip on his shoulder, that had to prove something, that was disregarded or needed a second chance or just some love to be put back in a position to do something special. And I did a lot of homework on every single one of those guys. And when I felt confident enough, I pulled the trigger on them. And, people were saying, well, this is one of the worst teams I've ever seen. It's not going to win more than 5 games. They're not very talented. But beauty's in the eye of the beholder. And for me, I just saw opportunity, and I saw guys that were looking for opportunity, and the environment I was going to create was going to give that to them. And they just bought into what we were doing there. And again, it wasn't very difficult, to be quite honest with you, because I knew exactly what I was looking for, and positionally what I was looking for, and what I needed to succeed. And part of that comes from being in Perth the year before and lucky enough to just watch how they operated and what was winning in the league and what was losing in the league. And I got a free, basically, class on what the NBL was to be able to study it and see what was going on, and then just tried to put out all together. And, there's some luck involved in everything, but when we constructed the roster, there's a lot of homework involved and a lot of background checking. Jack McVay is a guy that I spent maybe 6 Zooms with, because I just didn't believe this guy was this happy. And I didn't know if he was a con or if he's just saying the right things, because, and I'm pretty good and I'm pretty streetwise and been around a long, long time. And you can't trick me very often, but he was one that I just could not figure out. And I was very intrigued with him, but he took me the longest to get him across the line and convince myself, let's take a swing at this guy. But I did a lot of homework.
Yeah, well, that's paid dividends, because, you won finals MVP, all the emotion and what that meant to him after the game.
Absolutely.
How much, this was probably like his breakout season, but how much better do you think he can get moving forward?
Well, I said that after the game. I mean, he shocked me to where he is right now, to be quite honest with you. I knew he's good, and his scoring ability now has gone to some other kind of level. I mean, he was just doing damage down there in the post. And
oh, man.
It didn't matter who was guarding him or what size was down there. And, that versatility now to step out on the floor, to have the mid-range game, to go to the post, to be an 80% foul shooter. He's got quite the package going. And he does it without flair. He's very slow in his moves, but he's very calculated and sharp and crisp with that. And he's actually really improved his defense. And, he's this last 2 months, he's just exploded to one more level again. And I don't know how much more there is there, but we'll keep pushing him to get there. And, we had a lot of guys make these jumps every single year for us to just got just a little better, a little better. Their shooting percentage were going up. Like Fab started our first year to where he is now, a 40% 3-point shooter. Yep. When he was with us, he never shot threes. The first year coming out of college, Magne, healthy, finally makes some little jumps. And then can we talk about Shawnee Mack? I mean,
oh my goodness,
developmental player starting in the grand finals when I changed the lineup to put him against Golding to see if Golding would be able to guard him for the whole time out on the floor and not have Drimmick out there doing some other things. So we have guys that were growing, and I'm really proud of them.
He's going to be one hell of a player. He's showing now, Shawnee Mack.
Yep.
He is showing what he's about.
Yep.
You give him a couple more years, like he's going to be one of the top Aussies in this league. I truly believe that because he's playing with a chip on his shoulder for sure.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So under you and the guidance and the freedom that you give him, sky's the limit for him. He ain't no joke. He done hit some key shots for you guys last year and this year, and you trust him.
Yeah, and he defended, Cotton in the first series, as well as you could defend Cotton.
Yeah.
And then he got after Chris Golding as well as you can do with him. I give them a lot of freedom offensively, but I give them no rope defensively, and they're free to go down there and play as much as they want and shoot as much as they want within limits. And I think that's what players love, that they have the freedom down there, but they're accountable on the defensive end. And his defense has also improved over the course of the last 3 years.
I know you got to sleep. I know there's a million of these calls and all that. I'm not holding.
I had 106 texts through the middle of the night, and I just turned on my computer, and my US phone just had 56 of them. So, but it's worth it.
I got one thing.
Yeah.
You've coached in the NBA. You've coached greats. You've got Dirk.
Yeah. Dirk texted me about a couple hours ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what does this moment, like, you've done it. You've coached Dominican Republic, the national team, if I'm correct.
Yeah. And Canada, Turkey.
You've been all over the world.
Yeah.
This game.
Yeah.
What does this moment mean to you, though? These last 3 years compared to it all in this journey?
Well, I've always said the biggest moment for me in sports was this white, scruffy kid from the suburbs of Cleveland, Ohio, making the NBA when everyone said, there's no way you can make the NBA. You're not going to be in the top 280 players in the world. No one does that from where we're from. And that was my moment. My first game at the Forum, I got with Magic Johnson. And next thing you know, I'm just in the NBA for the next few years. And that was the moment for me. But this is really the moment for my life. The last 3 years have been, wonderful. I can't say anything other than hopefully creating a legacy here for myself, but for my family and just the people here at Tasmania. Again, I see myself not as a very good coach, but a really good mentor and a really good leader. And to inspire this state in the way that we have, that's gratifying enough. I had said before that, whether we win or lose or are we the champion, that's going to validate myself as a coach. But inspiring people and to rally something like this big of a state will hopefully be my legacy.
Incredible. Coach, man, I love you. Sis, I got nothing but love for you. Get well, stay well, rest up, drink water, stay hydrated. I'm doing the same. Tell Mom I said hello.
Yep.
Enjoy this moment, Coach. You deserve it.
I will, man. I appreciate you.
All right, love you guys. Much love, y'all.
I got it.